I would like to call to order the August 20th, 2024 meeting of the Colerain Township Zoning Commission. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to those in attendance, township staff, my fellow commissioners. Just a reminder for everyone present to please silence your devices at this time. Mr. Peters, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bachman?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Westfall?
Here.
Mr. Gary? Ms. McMullen?
Here. And can we have one of our alternates seated, please?
Mr. Hauser?
Commissioners, presented before you tonight, we have several meeting minutes that we need to work through first. Up first is the April 8th meeting. Does anyone have any comments or any edits for those? And I do. Just for the roll call, Mr. Wilson is missing as being present at the meeting. Anyone else? Thank you. Okay, can we have a motion and a second for approval, please?
I move to approve.
I'll second. Mr. Peters?
Mr. Bachman?
Abstain.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Westfall?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes. Okay, the motion carried. Next up, we have the May 21st meeting minutes. Does anyone have any comments or any required edits for that? And I do not. So can we have a motion and a second for approval, please?
Motion to accept.
I'll second.
So Mr. Bachman beat Mr. Westfall for that. Okay. And can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bachman?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes. Next up are the minutes from June 18th. Any comments or required edits for those minutes? And I do not have any either. Anyone want to make a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Peters?
Mr. Bachman?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes. And lastly, we have the minutes from our June 24th meeting. Do we have any comments or required edits for that one?
Do you mean July 24th?
Did I say June?
Sorry. Yeah.
I apologize. July 24th, thank you. That's one edit. Any other edits? Okay, can we have a motion and a second, please?
So move. Second.
Mr. Peters?
Mr. Bachman?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Westfall?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes. And just a note, real quick, due to some change in staff, we do have one set of outstanding minutes from our February meeting that we will be presenting at our next scheduled meeting.
Okay.
Next up on the agenda is our public address. So we do need to welcome the members of the public to address the zoning commission with any items on tonight's agenda. However, if you are planning to speak during the zoning resolution public hearing, we will invite you to the podium then. If you are here for either of the informal discussions we're having at the end of the meeting, we will talk to you then as well. But on that note, is there anyone who would like to address the commission with any other topic? Seeing none, we will move forward. So that brings us to our first public hearing, or our only public hearing of the night, which is case CZC 24-8, the Colerain Township Comprehensive Zoning Resolution. And Mr. Peters, do you have a presentation?
The department does. Mr. Miller will present.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I want to just do a kind of a 30,000-foot flyover. You have already, as a commission, had several meetings where you have taken the various articles of the zoning resolution, reviewed those in detail. We were able to have, I think, very substantive discussion, input. We thank you very much for your time. It's a lot of reading and input. So again, we'll begin by just saying thank you. And given that this is our public hearing for consideration by the commission for the zoning resolution, I just wanted to kind of do an explanation for the public. And this is not anything new for you, of course, on the commission, but to just make sure everybody understands kind of where we started and where we're going. So we have an economic development department, and I kind of just said it starts with planning and zoning. And so as you can see, we talk about progress with a purpose, and that's really where we want this new zoning resolution to go. Back in 2021, there was a new comprehensive plan that had been worked on for a considerable amount of time, energy by staff and residents. And so what we've done is move from the comp plan and its finalization and passage by the Board of Trustees to now a new zoning resolution that will help us and provide the guidelines and the law to work towards accomplishing that comp plan and putting it into place in order in Colerain Township. So we believe Colerain Township is a great place to live and work, raise a family. It is strategically located. We often get a reputation because of Colerain Avenue and traffic issues, but you know what? It's become a very a highly desired place of commerce, and I think this zoning resolution is going to help us address those demands, and I think it's going to point us in the direction where we can have a better planned community, and that's what again the goal behind this is. And it's charting a new direction for us instead of just go with the flow. I think that has been par for the course at some times in the past, and now what we're able to do is kind of control the flow with this, and we feel very good about it. And again, I would just want to thank all of you for your time and energy and putting in your thoughts and reading through this and seeing it from a big picture and then zooming in and seeing the smaller picture. So this envisioning the future through this zoning resolution is what our goal is. We have, I think, a loyal population, 60,000 plus. We even have more as a working population. It's a very large township. 14th largest local jurisdiction, larger than half the counties in Ohio. Big plus is we have no income tax. I think that is a draw for businesses. We have good, strong relationships with the business, with the Chamber of Commerce, Northwest Local School District, neighborhood organizations, and then building those connections, I think, is what leads to a healthier business, educational, and community environment, and that's, again, our goal. We have 7 primary character areas in Colerain. Those 7 are identified there, as you can tell, number 7 being the western Colerain, much more rural. But it's a very diverse community. When you think about number 4 there, the Colerain Avenue corridor, it's jam-packed. It's very dense. Just east of that, number 1, the greater Northbrook, very dense, densely populated. And so the diversity of not only the terrain, our neighborhoods, but the people and its population, I think, again, makes Colerain a very desirable place. So why do we have a zoning code? sometimes we get the question, can't we just let the market decide? And you can kind of say you got two options. Pre-1996, we allowed and asked for Hamilton County to regulate zoning. So with their control over zoning, we lost some control and influence over the direction of development, and then there was a longer approval process. 1996, then we took it over, and in response, of course, we get a greater control and influence over direction of development and a shorter approval process. And I think I'll show you I have some slides that we can show you some of the work that we've been doing, but the bottom line, let the market decide. The wild, wild west side just isn't an option, and that's why we're continuing to have our own zoning code. So when you read through the zoning resolution itself, we establish at the beginning what the rationale is. Why do we do this? According to the Ohio Revised Code, we have said this is our goal. It's in the interest of public health and safety that the trustees are allowed to regulate by resolution in accordance with the comp plan, as I mentioned earlier. We are regulating such things as the location of residential and commercial buildings, the height, the bulk, the number of stories. All of these items are included in this. The setbacks, how far these buildings are from your property lines, front, back, sides, sizes of yards, the courts, all of those things, the density of population in the unincorporated area. And it's for the public convenience, for the comfort, prosperity, and the general welfare. So we don't take that lightly. I think that there truly is a desire to make this a better community through a zoning resolution like this, and that is what is driving this zoning code and the languages in it. So if you look, this is an annual count of the number of zoning permits. You can see over the last close to 10 years, there's been a steady increase. The 2023, or is that 22? That's the second one? That's 3, yeah. We think there's some permits that were kind of walked in on paper. They didn't get into the system, so that's the only reason there's that small dip there. But think about, this is June, 96 zoning certificates that we processed. That was a all-time record that we had done, 79 residential, 17 in commercial. A number of those are new single-family residences. Here's July. We only dipped by 3. So 2 months in the 90s, just absolutely unheard of. And again, that's over the months of just 2024. So you can see that increase every month. So what are we changing in this zoning code? So there's a reduction in the number and the change in names of zones and districts. From the beginning, we have been working closely with our consultants, and that would be ZoneCo and KZF. They partnered together to help us. They do this kind of work all across the state, and I think they've even got some outside Ohio as well, that they consult on rewriting, trying to understand what is what's the market actually saying out there? What do residents want? What do communities, where do they want to chart a direction towards? So that's what's driving some of these new names. So we're going from the R1 through 7, B1, 2, and 3, the business and office and industrial districts, to this other list. So it appears to be more, but it truly is fewer. And so I'll show you maps here next. So here's our current zoning map. Feels very busy. Those are all the different zoning districts down that right side, color-coded, of course. So here's our proposed new zoning map and the new names for those districts down listed there in the table. We have gone from as I said, we had planned developments under a variety of designations, being PDR for residential, PDB business, mixed, industrial. So we're going to zoning districts, planned districts that would be 10 acres or more, as you had advised, and that's the direction. So that's the map where the current zoning districts are, with the blue being the flood hazard overlay. So the yellow being the current PDs. And then when you overlay those together, put the PDs in there with the flood, then that's what our new zoning map would look like. And then finally, what does the calendar look like? So tonight's August the 20th, 2024. We're having a public hearing with the Zoning Commission allowance for public comments, any changes that the commission would like to make, and then a recommendation to the Board of Trustees. And then the Board of Trustees would take it up next week with their initial public hearing. Again, allowance for public comments and any particular changes that they felt like were necessary, and then a wait until the next meeting for a final Board of Trustees discussion and vote. So that's all we have on that. Just to fly over on how we got to where we are today.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. So at this time, we do need to open our public hearing. Can we have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
And Mr. Peters?
Mr. Bachman?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Westfall?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes. And gentlemen, did we have a sign-in sheet?
I think the sign-in sheet was just for,
It is empty, but
It is empty?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so while he's checking, was there anyone in the audience that would wish to speak on the zoning resolution? Okay, I see none. Okay, thank you. And for the record, there is no one signed in to speak. Commissioners, while we are in public hearing, did anyone have any questions for staff or any additional changes, topics, edits?
I don't have any changes or edits. I did have a question on the calendar, though. At our last meeting, there was a discussion about a focus group that you all were contemplating doing with some of the business community. Did that happen, or is that still scheduled, and kind of what's the thought process on that?
it did. We met with several stakeholders, I want to say 6. We met with the chamber, we met with the Weiler Group, we met with Rumpke. We got very important feedback. They did have some changes they wanted made, but they liked mostly what we had. And I think we had a very productive conversation with each of those stakeholders. We also did post it on social media, on Circle. So we allowed community feedback. That would give the opportunity for people to have a discussion online or to call our office and voice their opinion. So we definitely have done probably more outreach in the last month than we have since the first month of the project when we had the public meeting at the senior center.
So with that public outreach and with those public comments and the stakeholder comments, is there any is there any issues that we should know about from our last meeting? Any substantive changes that either you're uncomfortable with or that you're comfortable with, but that you feel that we should be made aware?
No, I don't think there was anything significant that anyone had an issue with. I think they were just interested to see that some of the changes we made, such as changing the parking minimums, these are things that they were surprised to see, but excited about what that could mean for the future of Colerain Township. David, anything?
there were no particular changes that they requested. Again, they were interested in the process and in the direction, and I think there is some definite interest in trying to make their investments in Colerain better in using the code to improve what they can offer.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Felt good about it.
Good.
We also hadn't really touched the map at that point. So if you want to turn to the back of your booklet, and if you have any questions about specific areas of the township, the dark brown, and for our planners and David, it's the second page in your book. The dark brown is going to be our neighborhood business districts. So these are areas that could be a mix of housing and some sort of downtown feel. We thought these were important to just not have all the business jammed on Colerain Avenue, to have appropriate local business be in neighborhoods like White Oak and Northbrook. And we tried for every character area to have at least a little bit of area where there could be a business, so that lessens the chance of food deserts, so that has a place where someone in a rural area can go to a feed store and things like that. So if you have any questions about the zoning map, then we'd be happy to answer those. But that's probably the most significant thing that's changed since our last meeting.
And are these proposed zoning districts, or are they existing zoning districts?
Well, the RER, STR, those go along with the resolution in the rest of the book. So they will be existing presumably when all is adopted on October 10th.
Okay, so I guess what I'm getting at, so just help me through this. So the GOR, green space,
Yes.
okay? And I see a ton of green space, obviously along the river and to the, I guess that'd be the east side of Colerain Avenue.
Mhm.
Are all those parcels zoned open space?
They
Green-
will
green
be.
space,
They will
They
be
will be.
on October 10th, but
they will be,
there may be houses on some of them.
yes.
Those houses may continue to exist. The people may continue to live in those houses just like they do now, pretty much in perpetuity. The green space protects what's there right now from getting further developed. So that area would be what it is now, basically, unless the zoning is changed again.
So there'll be a lot of grandfathering that will occur after the October 10th or 12th, whatever date
Yeah,
you
there
said.
would be an increase of nonconformities, but as of right now, I think a lot of that is green space. There are some houses up there. I think the people that live up there will actually benefit from having areas around them be in the GOR, the green space, open space, recreational. It'll have more of a golf course feel in perpetuity than it will a retail or urban feel.
Okay.
We also put this building in the green space. Right now, we're in a residential zone,
Okay.
so we thought that was more appropriate too.
And the definition of, I guess, the answer to your question, there'll be legal nonconforming, right? That's something that's common right now. It happened in 2006 when we passed the zoning resolution. So going forward, every parcel right now that's currently legal and conforming or even non-conforming, whatever the new zone is, they're going to continue to be legal, though they might be non-conforming. I think we've tried to look with an eye that we're not, we could maybe eliminate some of that non-conformity by putting them in this neighborhood business mixed. I think that's going to help. Where there are some places, and you might recall the homeowner at the corner of Springdale and Harrison,
Yep.
there it was, where she went to sell her house and the mortgage company wouldn't give a loan because it was zoned commercial. And it was just kind of an accidental swipe of the pen that did that in '06. So we had to go through that process. So she was obviously legal but non-conforming, and we had changed that. So I think one of the things that David was able to do was try to look at some of that and adjust so that it wouldn't be as pronounced and common. We have a strip mall that has been heretofore zone residential, R6. And it's never going to be residential, but it just needed to be corrected. And I think when you can place them in that new zone of neighborhood business mix, that helps.
But to be crystal clear, you will see that. You will see somebody coming before the zoning commission saying, you made me a business zone. I'm a house. I shouldn't be. We have 30,000 parcels in the township. So it is, I worked on it for a week. It's not going to be possible to make sure everybody's happy. But we eliminated a lot of the spot zoning. And spot zoning is where you have one parcel that is zoned a certain way just because there's a house on it. And we don't want that. We'd rather zone everything business around it and have that be a non-conforming house instead of having that be a residential zone. Does that mean that someone might have a harder time when they go to sell a house? Yes, but I'll happily bring a case here for those, handful of times that that's gonna happen, and I'll bring it before the board so they don't have to pay, if we need to fix any errors, just like we did with the Springdale case.
And are all of the property owners notified of the change?
We did the public notice.
So we don't have the emergency one like we did?
No, it's not really possible because we'd have to send a letter to every single person in the township. And with the timeline that we have, no, but it has been made public. So people will be able to see the zoning map and have a choice, 3 chances to say, no, not my parcel, but I don't think anyone's really gonna have a problem. I do think that it is more appropriately zoned in this rendition than it has currently been.
Okay, and I notice we have guests tonight while we're in public hearing. Do you want to introduce who is here?
We can do that. We have 2 new planners that have joined Colerain Township as of yesterday. And so we have Maggie Klein, hails from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So she gets some type of special ribbon for traveling the furthest. And then Juliana Petty is from Mentor, Ohio, right?
Manor.
Oh, Mentor.
Come on, David.
Okay.
Where'd you guys go to college?
Uh,
Oh, wow. 6 in a row.
Yeah, so. We're very excited to have them on staff. Tremendous learning curve, of course, but I think they're going to get up to speed really quick, and it's going to be a time for their own professional growth to actually get to apply what they've learned, and I think Colerain Township is going to be a great place for that to happen, and there's a lot of good things going on and planned in the near future. I went through a list last month with the Board of Trustees, development projects that are just finished, we cut the ribbon on, they're under construction or getting ready to break ground, and we're close to $100 million just in that short window on that list, and I think there's still plenty to go, and so we're really excited to have them on. So welcome, Maggie and Juliana.
Awesome. Welcome.
Maggie will be with us on the zoning commission. Juliana will be assisting on the Board of Zoning Appeals. So
Okay.
you'll see a lot more Maggie than Juliana, but maybe Juliana could peek in every now and then.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There'll be some
Initially, I thought they were from KZF, which is like I'll slide them into the public hearing.
Yeah, they'll do some cross-pollination training for both, but nonetheless, I think the goal is to kind of have some prioritization in commercial and versus residential, and so that's what we'll do at the beginning.
Awesome. Thank you. And last call, anyone that wants to speak on the zoning resolution? Okay, seeing none, then last call for questions from you guys. No. All right, so we need a motion and a second to close our public hearing, please.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Mr. Bachman?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes. So at this time, is there anyone who would like to make a motion? All right, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the Colerain Township Comprehensive Zoning Resolution as presented.
I'll second.
Yeah, Mr. Peters?
Mr. Bachman?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser?
Yes.
Mr. Westfall?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. McMullen?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I just want to say, this is my 6th year on the zoning commission, and this has been in the works for that long. It just always crept up. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has worked on it over the years. It may have been longer. I don't know, Mr. Westfall's been here longer than me. But congratulations to all who have worked on it.
Thank you. It's been a long road.
Yep. So next we have 2 informal concept reviews to discuss tonight. First is ICR 24-1, 3491 Struble Road. And I will pass it over to Mr. Peters.
Sure. ICR 24-1, informal concept review, 3491 Struble Road. I'll give a brief introduction and then allow the applicant to stand up and give a presentation. This is for Blue Compass RVs, formerly Colerain RV. The letter of intent was placed in front of each of your seats, and this explains a brief synopsis of what the applicant is wishing to do on this property. The FDP Final Development Plan was approved in the year 2000. It was initially brought to the Zoning Commission in 1995 as a map amendment, one of the first cases ever in the Zoning Commission, and it was approved. It's done very well, and they proposed a sign in 2009 that was 45-foot tall interstate sign, and this was along I-275. That was the rest of what they were requesting in 2009 was approved as far as buffering goes, but the sign was explicitly not. There were some errors where things fell through the crack with former staff leaving and things being emailed that were incorrect. And basically we picked up the fact that when we read the minutes, the sign was explicitly not approved. So we've tried since that time to work with the applicant. Staff in our department does support a sign along 275. Absolutely not 45 feet tall, but something along the height of circle storage. The applicant claims the sign is already built. So with that, I'd like to ask Mr. Gorman to step up and give his presentation.
Mr. Peters, basically, he kind of went over the whole thing. He was a huge help early on. This has been going on for about a year, I think. So we were going back and forth. He was digging through the minutes that we discussed. Sorry, I got notes on my phone. So he was digging through from the notes in 2008, where he found that what we thought was the sign was approved at that time. He sent me an email on December 11th where he told me that Mr. Peters had given, or Mr. Miller had given him approval to, or permission to approve the sign, and that he would go ahead and send the certificate. Between that time and February, after doing some more digging, they had found that that was incorrect, that it was not actually approved. At that time, though, in December, I went back to the customer and told them, I've got written approval, let's go ahead and get the sign into production. So obviously, the sign was made, and we worked through and realized that it was not approved. And that's kind of where we are now. So what we're proposing is a 45-foot high highway sign. I think it was 156 square feet that sits on the corner of the property near I-275.
Why don't we wait?
Sorry about that.
No problem. So that's where we're at now. So we're proposing that sign, hoping to get some sort of
You don't have your
approval
map, do you?
or some sort of resolution on what we could have there.
If I may, Trevor, I think the question, I believe, posed to you, and as we have kind of discussed the informal concept review, probably two questions. What height would be appropriate? If the sign's made, then it's made, okay? So, and he says 156. I think that's going to be fine. It's the height of the pole, right? How tall is it going to be? And then the second would be what would be the location on their site. So those are, I think, the two questions that we seem to settle in on. Yes. Of what we would like to hear from you. What would you be comfortable with as a zoning commission, given that it's a PD, and so the PD was the PD had been approved, or there was an amendment to the PD, and that was what we had originally found and said, yep, it was approved. But then when David went and read the actual minutes, and there was one carve-out that was not approved, and it was the sign at this height and in the location where they had proposed it. And I think that your current proposal is even different than what was denied at the PD hearing. Wasn't it, I think it was originally a little bit further back?
The one in 2008?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
okay. I believe, and then now what you're proposing is out pretty much right on the interstate on your property line.
Yeah, right at it's kind of a V shaped at the
Yep,
bottom of the property.
there's a point there, so,
It's also kind of like the highest point, like topography. So that's where the sign would start.
So it's on the eastern side of the property?
Is that the
The
eastern
west side,
East.
the western side.
it'd be, yeah.
West
no,
side?
Yeah, furthest west and furthest south.
Do you have anything visual that you can show us?
Your computer blacked out, which is.
Yeah, actually, I'm disconnected now, so.
Yeah, I can try to hook up. Can I also say, when we had emailed him, we had said the 156 square feet, he's good to go for the extra 6 square feet that was over 150. We did never issue a zoning certificate, though. We never said you're good to go on the 45 foot. That was the idea between us talking, but he never got his zoning certificate, is kind of the point that we were at. So again, we are okay with him putting the sign there if you are. We just don't want it to go over where circle storage is. No matter where he puts it on the ground, no matter how tall the pole is, we don't want the top of his sign to go higher than the circle storage sign. That's where we're at. So
What's circle storage height? Do we know?
if you instruct us that's a good idea, we'll go research that, have it measured, contact them.
You can see it actually from Google Streets.
You can't, like, they want to know exactly how tall.
I understand,
Okay.
but I mean, you can get a sense. It isn't 45 feet.
No, it's not 45 feet.
So what I'm having a hard time with is in the agenda, we just had a notice that we were gonna talk about this. There were 0 details given to us for an informal concept review. It's more of just a dialogue back and forth, you know. I don't know, this seems more like it's like a variance type case. You were on the BZA. Does this seem more like something you would have heard at the BZA more than the zoning commission?
We can't do a variance for a PD.
That's what I was here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we were just wanting to know, were we in the same ballpark? Are you gonna say absolutely not, no sign whatsoever? Or he wants to know, are you gonna let him have a 45-foot sign? And we wanna know, are you on
Well,
the same page with the circle storage?
I think where we're at is we're getting hit with this with no information. B, it's confusing because we don't have a site plan, we don't have height of, or at least a location where it's gonna be. It sounds like the history here is a little ugly in terms of the 1211 email, but it appears to me, and I wasn't in any of the discussions, but the 156 square feet seems to not be the issue.
It's not.
Okay. And that's what it sounds like you gave approval for, at least in the email.
Yes,
Now, there might have been discussions about the height,
got it, David.
but I think that's the real rub that I think we're having, and that's why I asked the question about circle storage, to kind of understand what the precedent has been with regard to the height of an interstate sign. Sir, do you have any knowledge of what that might be?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah. I think that'd be some good information for the commission to have at the next time we review this. But I certainly don't want to start a precedent due to a mistake on an email that we allow a 45-foot high sign. I just think that's very inappropriate. You're here for an informal discussion, and I'm informally telling you my thoughts.
Sure.
Um,
Just to be clear, the email said that we had permission to approve the application. The application was including the height,
Gotcha.
the overall height of the sign.
Gotcha.
Okay, so this green, and I can certainly go back and figure out, because they had to get special permission, this is taller than 15 feet. I can figure out how much they were approved for. I just wanted to know if there was even a reason to go do so, if you were even considering the sign.
Another question, since you all reviewed the notes in excruciating detail, what was the reason for no pole sign in 2009, 2008?
The commissioners just didn't want it. I don't know if Mr. Westfall was on the board.
You remember that
I
part?
really think you were.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
So do you recall anything about that case? I read the minutes, it didn't really describe
No, I do
why.
not
It just said
remember.
that they're like, I like everything but the sign. They said, okay, we'll strike the sign.
Okay.
So there's the circle storage sign if you turn to the screen. So going over would be about here, and it's circular, so it wouldn't look very tall at all. What the 45 foot would end up
Way
being
up
a
there, yeah.
lollipop in the sky, seen for miles.
Yep.
So
It was the circle, do we know it's a circle storage sign? Was that a variance, or was that part of the PUD that was approved?
it's a PD as well, so it had to have been at least a minor modification of the PD.
Okay.
And from discussing with Marty early on, because I started working on this case on my third day here. They've been here 2 days, so tomorrow would be the equivalent. And ever since, we've been going round and round about this. And I think Marty said something about circle storage getting special approval because they have a ditch there. And so does the RV place. But as long as the top of their RV sign doesn't exceed what we allowed for circle storage, I think that's fair.
Right, at one point, Circle Storage came before us, but they wanted to have a moving display board.
That's RV's not asking for that. I don't think that's a great idea anyway. But they just want some sort of sign so that people know they're down there, which I support. I just don't support the 45 footer, especially putting it at the top point elevation of your property.
And under the present zoning resolution, what is the total height of the sign allowed to be?
15 feet, and at 12 feet, October 10th if this passes.
I'm saying in the current,
Current, 15 feet.
15 feet.
Yeah, but by the time he gets through, it'll be 12 feet. So,
The sign cabinet itself is taller than 15 feet.
it's a like 15.2 foot radius.
Oh, it's a circle, you said it was a circle.
Sorry. Sorry. We had more permits last month than ever, and I was by myself, so forgive me.
I can't imagine, and I feel for, feel for you. I can't imagine a scenario where, me personally, I would say yes to a 45-foot pole.
How high do you think would be reasonable? Keep in mind that the cabinet is 15 feet tall. Aesthetically,
Here's the answer. The answer is you guys do some homework, come back to us. Us to give you an arbitrary number is not right. That is not right for us to give you a number without, where are you gonna put it grade-wise? From ground to the bottom of the circle, what is that elevation gonna be? What is that amount? What's appropriate? I don't know what it is. I don't even know how big the sign is. It's 150 square feet, and we know it's 15.2
I think it was 15.2, right?
in
Height
tall and
of the sign.
height.
tall by in width, so it's an exact circle, so,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. That was the point. It was a circular sign, and that's why we thought the 6 extra square feet was administratively approvable, which is what I meant to say in the email. Being so new, said Mr. Miller said you're good to go on the sign for the square footage inherently. I'll issue your certificate soon. And then I realized between that email and issuing the certificate that on the minutes it was struck out, even though it was on the agenda in the staff report, in the minutes. And now I know, and every time I have a case, I check the minutes and I never make promises in email. I've told people not to do that. So I've learned some lessons, and I support the sign.
So the 12 foot under the code modification in mid-October is from grade to top of sign?
Average grade to top.
Average grade?
Yeah.
Average grade?
Yeah.
Because it slopes pretty good according
It
to.
does.
Yeah, it slopes real good.
Average grade.
It will need to be more than 12 feet tall probably, but that's why I said if the top of the sign is equal to the circle storage sign, then it'll look consistent with what's there. And that'll probably be close to 30 feet tall considering where it'll be in the ground, but at average grade, it'll look more reasonable. Those are up there.
Well, can you guys just give us more information then? I mean,
What I was hoping is that you'd say, yeah, I'm for the sign. I like the certain, we'll take a look at it, get some more information, and then next meeting, we can bring Mr. Gorman back and say, okay, here's the proposal.
That's the proposed site plan there in the middle.
Can't get it to zoom. Here we go. One moment. Okay. This was his rendering that was originally sent to us. In this area on the corner of the lot is where it was proposed to be.
And that's down in a hole pretty much, isn't it?
Actually, I think that's
That's not in a hole where it's
Is it?
proposed.
that's actually up on,
It is.
almost on the
And you
interstate.
can see where the top
It's
of this
almost
sign-
on the
Well, you
interstate,
can-
then, yeah.
You know, the bottom picture on the right,
circle storage is down about here.
Okay, I got you.
okay? And then the site map, just in the middle there, that, you can see right there, so it says
It's pretty close.
SG13, that's where that sign would go. That's the proposal. There's your picture of the sign and the height, the person.
Doesn't that have to be so far off the property line?
There are requirements for setbacks.
I mean, it looks like it's pretty close to the
Yeah, so
expressway.
we weren't even there yet.
Yeah.
We were kind of stopped at the height, but I believe that Mr. Gorman had verbally said it would be 5 feet back from the property line, at least.
Yeah.
Sometimes really large properties appear with things very close to the property line, when you see maps, but they're really 10 feet back. It's kind of hard to tell.
And the RV is gonna be there too? Along with the circular sign?
That's what was proposed. I don't know that that portion was ever discussed as part of the square footage or not.
No. But that would definitely be more area.
So what I heard is Mr. Bachman say, get some more information, come back to us.
I would like to know what circle storage is.
Okay.
I think that'd be a very good model to at least understand, and then we can kind of go from there. But when I see that picture on the right, my goodness, that is something. That is really there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tall.
It is tall. Okay.
And honestly, I don't want to set a precedent.
No,
know. I agree. I'm nervous about it too.
yeah.
So, at the risk of causing more discussion, there is another sign, so that is going to be north and east, there you go. So you can see that right there. So that sign has been replaced, the face has been replaced with Blue Compass. With that plus this sign on Struble, they've maxed out on their sign allowances on site. So that creates another wrinkle in this. We have discussed it. So with it being in a PD, those kinds of variances are allowed to be considered by the zoning commission.
Honestly, the height of that sign is pretty much the same as circle storage, I think. So if they kept it at that height and moved it,
But that that sign's kind of buried back into the site
Yeah.
where the RVs are. I guess the goal, right?
Yeah, it's parallel to the interstate.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange.
You're not going to see that, and that's the repair sign. Is that right? Okay, you can get your RV repaired here.
Gotcha.
if you get approval, are you planning on taking that one down?
That's part of, we've discussed that
Yeah.
as part of.
Clearly, westbound traffic is not going to see that sign. that one right there.
I think you see it now with the trees, till you're right on it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even the eastbound, you know, the value of it, from a sign person, it has tremendous value, does it not? Tongue in cheek, right? Sign people think all signs are great. Bigger the better. And what we want to, again, respectfully, work with you and Blue Compass to provide a remedy to this that's workable and that's beneficial to both.
Well, I would like to go full circle and ask, and you don't have to answer. You said you've already ordered it. How much of a setback monetarily is this to change the height? Like, are you gonna get a discount because now you may not get it that tall? Like,
To change the height of the structure is not gonna be that big of an issue. It would have been to change the size of the cabinet since it's already been manufactured. The steel itself is typically ordered at the time of the install or a couple weeks prior. So the height of it is not a monetary setback.
Might be cheaper because it's shorter.
You would think.
I wasn't sure if it was ordered now.
Right, yeah, those poles may not be ordered, but they could be reduced. So, all right, so the research then, what's needed is what is the height of circle storage that is right next door, so we can get a comparison of what the feel is along the interstate and how those signs would match each other or, you know, be close enough.
I think that would be excellent, David, and I also would like to have the owner's information on what's gonna happen with that sign that's, I assume is still there, or it's been refaced, or whatever it is.
Yes, it has a new face that says Blue Compass.
Okay. But I guess if a new sign's going up that says Blue Compass, do we really need two that say Blue Compass?
Right.
That would be good information for your.
Well, you did say he was already maxed out on,
There are already two signs on the parcel, on that site. That
ground
being-
signs.
Two ground signs, one over on Struble, where the entrance is, so.
We typically allow 2 ground signs when you have interstate frontage, but they're requesting a third.
great.
Okay, so I guess next meeting, we can bring that back.
So our next meeting, we do not have one in September. We are up in October.
All right, let's have discussion sidebar.
Okay?
All right, thank you, Trevor, appreciate your time.
Nothing came in?
Nope. All right, thank you. All right, so we have a second on informal concept review, which is IRC 24-2 for 3180 Springdale Road. And Mr. Peters.
Okay. For the video record, ICR 24-2 has been moved to Board of Zoning Appeals as a conditional use. Okay, ICR 24-3 is for 3180 Springdale Road. It's a final development plan use inquiry. We have a gentleman who runs a business in the township, recently purchased this business, and he put up an improper sign, was visited by code enforcement, came into our office, and we discovered that actually the use going on there is not approved in the FDP. So we wanted to have a chat about how we can move forward. He'll give his presentation. The township does support coming to some sort of resolution that would allow him to do his business in the township, and he would like to know what the zoning commission would be comfortable with to achieve that goal. Mr. Root?
Hey, are you Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Hi, welcome.
Thanks. I'm a little bit nervous up here. So.
Don't be.
We're all friends.
Yeah.
All right. Where I start? What did you say? You said
Start with your business and what your business does.
Okay, I can read a letter that I wrote.
Yep, good.
All right, my name is Rashad Harris. I'm a businessman, a man of God that works really hard. The owner of RHS Racing at 3180 Springdale Road. I want to bring a successful business to the community by providing good, professional, trustworthy, reliable services for auto repair and used car sales. I want to patronize and support our community, help create a safe and fun environment that will bring the community together with every satisfied customer. I believe that providing good services to the community, it will help unify us and give us a good sense of pride and trusting in our own local businesses. I would like to know how do I proceed into getting approved for the sign that's in front of the building, and also being able to, I guess, have it be able to sell cars. So I guess it said something about the sign was on a roof, but it was it's like in the front of the building. Oh yeah, there we go.
If I may, there's a facade on the front of the building that has a roofing design on it. That's not really why we're here, but just for, if he pulled off this facade, then he would have space up here to put the name of his business. The applicant states that the name of his business above the garage doors is required by law to operate the type of business that he wants to operate, and this is the only place he can put it on these shingles. This is questionably a roof sign. The real reason we're here, and I would like Mr. Miller to explain, because you have a little more context on the previous owner and what they wanted to do with the property.
So the previous owner had been in that site for a number of years. He had gone to, I believe, the zoning commission to get approval to expand the services that he could offer. And the commission approved very specific wording that does not allow for car and automobile sales. So it was oil change and repair, I believe, and detailing, I believe, is in the actual allowance. And so that when Mr. Harris is wanting to just expand to be able to continue that service, because he has the garage there, and he wants to just amend the PD to be able to provide auto sales as well. Does that sound accurate? And then the sign part, again, code enforcement commented on the banner that was attached to that roof. And again, depending on the definition that you use, it's more, is that a facade or not? But there is a vinyl banner that's attached there that does say he's engaged in automobile sales, new and used car sales, maybe something like that.
It's actually like it's not a banner, it's like a hard plastic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, common sign. I think you can order it. Sign companies and grommets on the corners, and I think it's. I'm not sure how it's attached, but to the there. So that's what's questionable and for signage, but the amendment to the PD is what would be required to allow him to do the auto sales. So I think that is part of his question tonight is, would the zoning commission be amenable to a PD amendment, a minor amendment that says, I'm going to move from auto detailing and oil changes and some minor service to also allow for sales? So that site right there is a PD. It's bounded by pretty much residential all around. Well, this residential zoning as of today, interesting enough, that strip mall is R6.
We were referencing the strip mall earlier.
Yeah.
And it will be neighborhood business mixed soon.
Yeah. So, kind of fixing that. And then to the left of Mr. Harris's business is the 3241. Is that it?
3210.
3210. So that currently is a bar. And it was zoned R6. So one thing that David's done is done neighborhood business mixed all the way down that, with the exclusion of the PD, because we couldn't change that. So what's before you would be the discussion about change, a minor amendment to the PD to allow for automobile sales.
Basically, are you okay with a car dealership there?
Are car dealerships allowed within the definition of neighborhood business mixed?
That's a good question. I don't know, so I can look that up. Maybe we can entertain other questions while I look.
Is there, one of the pictures looked like there was a large pole sign on the corner there?
Mm-hmm.
Has that been refaced for your business?
It has.
It has, okay.
Is that your sign?
Yes.
That's your face? Okay.
Mr. Wilson, they're not.
Are oil changes and that sort of thing? Sorry, I know.
No, you're fine. I shouldn't have showed it.
And then, Mr. Miller, you had mentioned that by regulation, if he does sales, there has to be a sign above the garage? Is that what?
I was not aware of something that Mr. Peters said. Is there specific signage that you're saying is required above the garage?
License, when she came out to inspect, they needed a
What
sign
page
on
is
the
that?
building,
32.
what the business were. And that was the last thing that hung up, but they got me approved. And so, I wasn't even aware that I couldn't have that, because Bill, who had previously owned it, was Duffy Motors, and he was selling cars. I had no idea it was this, you know. But, yeah, the inspector, when she came out from the state, she looked at everything, and she thoroughly, inspected everything, and she was like, "You good to go?" And then, like 3 days later, I got the leader license.
And got the dealer license?
Yeah.
Is that-
So I didn't even wear it, like, I guess, the previous owner's a jealous dude. He was mad about something. He was causing a bunch of problems, which I guess he came down here complaining, and like, I actually had texted him, like, what did I do wrong? Not knowing that he was behind everything that caused all these problems. So I'm like, and he didn't respond back. I'm like, man, this is terrible. So, the realtor was like, don't talk to him. Stay away from him. So, and then it's another guy that got a dealer, Tony. When I talked to him, I guess he was friends that sells cars. He was like, yeah, he ain't a good person, man. He's like, kind of talking to me like my dad. So I was like, why would he do that to me? I didn't know. I was like, it's worse than what I thought. I was like, I didn't know that I couldn't put a sign up, and then it ain't zoned right. I'm like, so I ain't made no money. I've been hurting. But
Are you the property owner now?
yeah,
You did buy the property?
yeah. Down here trying to see if I can make things right, whatever I need to do to make it right.
It was approved in 1996, just for the record.
The PD.
The PD.
And then just to go backwards, I know that there was a question asked about the new zoning resolution.
Yeah.
Can you say that for the record? Because we were.
Yes, of course. So in the neighborhood business mixed, the only one from the automotive section, which is 03, of the use tables that are allowed are automotive charging service, which is not, automotive fuel service, which like a gas station, and drive-through facility, which this is not. So automotive sales, automotive service, automotive wash, wrecking, salvage, junk, and body repair are all prohibited in the neighborhood mixed district. He has a PD.
Which
though.
just gives us the idea because he's a PD.
Yeah, that would be the underlying zoning. So as a PD, he was approved for some of those things, but not sales.
So going back, you were asking our opinion on if we want sales in a neighborhood,
Yes.
is one of the questions that you were asking.
And how How big a part of the sales does your business plan show on the sales of car sales?
How big of a plan?
How big of a
Your-
influence,
Revenue.
yeah,
Oh,
are we,
I think it'll make a lot because it's been hard to even try to, do auto repairs. I think it'll help big time, from, selling cars. And then I can always fix so whatever I sell, if something go wrong, I can fix that car and help generate the repairs. Cause it's been hard trying to get people in there to fix their cars. And like,
How many cars do you plan to have on the lot available for sales?
maybe 5 or 6, not a whole lot, if cause I was told like if you had a whole bunch on there, then you may not, sometimes they don't do that good, but if you got a small amount, you get them out in quick, faster, get them in and out. So it wouldn't be something where it'd be packed and loaded up there, it'd just be something that's nice little bit amount. And then I still got the cars that I'll be fixing, hopefully. So I wouldn't put like too many. I think once I start fixing cars, then I would be loaded up with a bunch of cars to sell, from doing a little bit of both. So I would try to keep it small, and I don't want to spread myself too thin, where I can't do too much, or try to do too much.
Right, so to give you a second of where my headspace is at,
Okay.
I live on Menominee, 2 streets away from you.
Okay.
Instantly, I'm like, no car sales. And the reason is if you drive down Pippin, there are some small car lots. And I'm sure 10, 15 years ago, they started off with good intentions of maintaining 5 or 6 cars for sale. And you fast forward a decade or two, and you have cars that sit on the lot forever. There's grass that grows up around them. They're never moved. And they turn into just these junky car deserts where they just go to die. And
That one.
I don't want to put their business model on you. That's not fair to the type of businessman that you probably are. But I've seen the other side, the other scenario of when the cars don't sell and they just sit there.
No, like I'll get rid of them. Like you would just be in a lot of debt, and I take care of people with developmental disability. I couldn't even do all of that. So there'd be a small amount, and I'll never let it get like that. I take a lot of pride in my business and, very respectful. So I would never let that get a whole bunch of cars and grass. Like, no, it'd be a small amount. I think it'll just help with in terms of building the business where, hey, I got more people in here to fix their cars and detail. I think it'll all just kind of come together and help where I'm detailing the cars and fixing them and selling a few. So I wouldn't want to be selling a whole bunch of cars. I ain't got that. I'm 47 years old. I'm tired. I've taken care of people with disability for so many years. This was just kind of like a fresh of breath, yeah.
Breath
breath
of
of
fresh
fresh
air.
air?
So, and I'm like, man, I race. I go to Edgewater and race the cars down there. And I'll take my people down there. They love it, my clients. So, yeah, it wouldn't be nothing like that. It'd be a few. Might even be less than that. I know, like, I wouldn't get in no debt. Because they give you these, a floor plan. And so they try to give you a bunch of money. And if you don't move those cars, then they coming to get them, And you just basically, you don't own them. You're just paying, you're paying on your floor plan every month. And if you don't get rid of them cars, then you just screwing yourself up because, you need to move that car within 3 months. Otherwise, you just paid a lot of it, So the auction owns it. The other people that give you the money is basically like they own the title, hold the title of the car until the car gets sold off the lot. And it'll just be foolish to sit there and let that thing sit there and you just paying all that money. You can kind of give it back to the auction, but you just lost if you paid maybe $300 on the car that sat for 3 or 4 months.
So do you have intent of buying cars from individuals or just always from auctions and almost like the middleman type of scenario?
No, my intent is like to get a small amount from the auction and just put maybe 4 or 5 or 6 up there, no more than 6. But not a middleman. I don't know I don't do that. Like, yeah, I don't ride around and say, hey, let me buy your car. I'll go to them but I'm gonna try to use my own money. I don't want to do. I don't want to get stuck with somebody trying to give me a floor plan and then I'm like, I'm in a lot of debt. I knew this Ken who had a close friend. He had a heart attack. You know, he's in all that debt. He just opened a dealership. And it was like, man. So yeah, I don't want to get into.
Okay, question for you. So, I don't understand the word floor plan in your business, but kind of help me out here a little bit. So, we got a lot going on. You got car sales, past car sales, when he wasn't supposed to be doing it. Well, that's a question for you guys in a minute, but I would need to understand your business a little better. So, what I think I hear you saying is you almost ran a car. That's a bad term. Somehow the middleman is really what I'm thinking too, but that's not a good term either. You are you're not in possession of that car, right? So the auction house owns it, and they just put it on your lot, and if you sell that, then you make some money.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's right.
And
That's
if it doesn't sell, you're still paying them a monthly fee. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's kind of how you envision this going for 5 or 6 or 10 or 12 cars, whatever it is.
Yeah, not that many, but and then if I don't, if you don't move it, you can give it back to them. You just lost money.
But you're paying, as I understand this business model, because I don't know anything about it. So you're going to educate me.
Yeah.
As I understand what you're telling me is you don't have possession of that car. The auction does, correct? The auction house.
Yeah, I don't truly own it.
Okay.
You're
But
right.
the auction house does, correct?
Yes.
And they're just using your space, or you're using your space to try to sell it, correct?
Well, you got the auction house, and then you have the person that comes with the floor plan of funding.
See, that's what I don't understand. I don't understand that.
All right. Well, so yeah. So until you pay that car off, you truly own it. They just loan you the money for the car, and you don't. So if the car is it's $5,000 at the auction, and it's like, all right, you're gonna pay us say $50 a month for insurance on the car, and you need to sell it. If you don't sell it, then you just add up that money, But once the car is sold, then the customer say I sell it for $7,000. Well, then they get their $5,000, how much the car is worth, and then I get the other.
The two.
Yep.
But the $5,000, the initial 5,000, and what the example you gave us, and I know we're getting in the weeds, but there's a reason I'm getting there. That 5,000 is money you're not putting out. You're not putting 5,000 out, correct?
That's if I got a floor plan. If I got $5,000, and I just gave them $5,000 for that car at the auction, and that's my money, and I got to get my money back. But the floor plan that at the auction, these guys that offer floor plans, they'll give you money, like say $100,000. We're gonna give you $100,000. You got to use that. If I got, if each car was 10,000, or if one car was 15,000, you just maxed out.
Okay.
Here's
why I'm asking what I'm asking. Originally, I thought you were fixing cars and then you were kind of selling them to try to make money. But that's not what you're doing. It's a whole different business cycle or business interest or business dynamic than fixing cars. You're going through this whole thing with the auction house and putting cars on your lot that you're not fixing.
No, I haven't even got done to that.
I get it. That's what I'm saying. There's two things going on here. You want to fix cars, correct? You detail. You're doing oil changes. You're probably doing minor repairs, correct?
Well, I want to sell, minor sell cars, and then because it's easier to sell a car than to sit there and turn a wrench all day. You get tired. So
Now I'm lost.
Okay.
Now
So
I'm confused again.
your goal is to become an auto lot, not to be a car repair?
Well, to mix it. I mean, just to mix it, because I think that if I'm say if I'm like my neck hurt right now, so say if I can and the business needs to make some money and somebody want to buy a car, then that was easier for me to sell that car instead of a person need an exhaust manifold, a person need a head gasket, and it's like, man, I'm hurting, I couldn't really do all of that myself. Now if I get mechanics to do it, and then you never know if they're gonna come in and work but if I'm at the mercy of employees not coming to work or not wanting to do the repairs, then at least I can sit there and sell a car a week and still make the business a little bit profitable. And so it was kind of like a mixture of auto repair and then a little bit of car sales. Not a lot of car sales, because I'm not sitting here trying to get a bunch of money off of it, just so I can make something.
So your primary business goal is to make a bigger profit off of the selling of the cars and have the repair of the cars
As a backup.
be the backup or the side job, if you will. If you don't make enough off of the car sales, you can fall back on.
The auto repairs, yep. And then if that struggle, then it's like, well, I can always wash somebody's car, but nothing was working yet. So it wasn't.
And then talk to me about the sign on the building. So at the very beginning, Mr. Miller had mentioned, or Mr. Peters, I believe, that the facade of the building could be modified to where you could put the required sign on the building. Are you willing to do that?
So you said,
That change?
like, take the shingles off?
Ms. McMullen, it's up there if you want to reference. This part
So
right
can you
here
do the,
is a facade.
yes, so that part up there, so I'm assuming, now I didn't see the sign that you put up, so
I got a picture of it once.
I would love to see a picture of it. And that met the state of Ohio's?
But that does not meet our code, because it's a roof sign.
Arguably, it's probably a roof sign.
So if you took that facade and made that a straight wall and put that sign, would that would fit our requirements, correct?
Yes, if you took the facade off, which it was an idea presented to him, which he said would be very expensive.
The facade is considered a roof.
The facade, because it has shingles and it's angled, I'm calling it a roof. But
I didn't know, because these other businesses had the same thing.
Well, yours is different because you're zoned different. So where they have those permitted signs,
there's also legal non-conformities like we discussed, how they've been there since before 1995, 1996 era, then they're grandfathered in.
There's a lot in it.
and do you want your,
Oh, yes.
Thank you, that was all.
Can I have that for the record?
What other sign options does he have for that?
There's no
question-
option
the-
for a roof sign in Colerain Township.
The question that we have, okay, does the state require that? And you thought they did, but you aren't sure on that, is that correct?
They did.
They
Well, it required the sign to be on the building.
required to have a sign on the building. Okay, so now what we need to find out is what you need to do to make it fall under our regulations. Okay, what that sign needs to look like. It can't just be a banner sign on the roof.
It's not a banner. It looks like a banner.
That's considered a banner sign.
Oh. So I think when you say banner, I think like a floppy material. Okay.
That's just what they call it, it's a banner sign.
Okay.
so I think we need, I think we need staff to,
My only thoughts are either you take down the facade and you do it above the garage doors. Above, if we turn our attention to the projector, Above this door, there's a triangular piece here. We talked about potentially having a sign put here. Would be a wall sign. I'm sitting here thinking of something I hadn't earlier, maybe we can all discuss, is doing a sign on the garage door. Do you ever have them all open at the same time?
Yep.
Okay, so
You're back to the triangular over the,
it's gotta be the
Entry door.
triangular over the door. You've gotta either take that down, or the zoning commission here has to approve him the ability to have a roof sign, but staff would have to recommend that it's not some sort of fly-by-night banner sign. It's gotta be something nice, that would minimize the intensity of having a roof sign to begin with.
Sir, would that sign that, we just saw the picture of, would that fit in that, above that door there?
It's too big.
You think it is?
Oh, I can try to see if I can.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
what is it that you want out of the sign? If you could have the sign anywhere.
Well, I wonder if you could just allow it to be where it's at.
Okay, so he wants it on the facade.
Does it look so good?
It would be considered a roof sign. Do you all agree that it would be considered a roof sign?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we're gonna allow the roof sign as an amendment to the PD, that's one path. Otherwise, it's gonna have to go in the triangle, or you're gonna have to take the facade down, or you can't have a sign, period. I don't see another option. Do you agree?
yeah.
That's where we're at.
I mean, you do have a sign on the corner, but, on the pole sign, but you're saying that the state requires on the building.
the building.
that's-
So if you actually put some kind of sign in that triangular area, that would, well, I'm asking, would that, you'll have to find out from the state if that would
Oh,
Beat their,
meet their criterias. Okay,
okay.
but I think the sign on the shingles, that sign specifically, I don't think that we would allow that. I mean, there's other types of signs that we probably would be able to.
Please?
I would ask the channel letters, right? Would that be an example?
I'm sorry, Sig?
Channel letters, like cut out individual letters. Is that an example of what you're saying maybe could be?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
That's a possibility. I mean, this new thing's got all kinds of sign, you know. Now, in the cars, selling cars there is a car lot at the corner of what, Niagara and Springdale? Across from the,
This way?
transmission place?
Am I going the right way?
No, you're going,
No.
go the other way.
Awesome.
It's up.
I had a 50% shot.
Yeah, you did.
If anyone doesn't know, I don't live here. Okay, let's see what this looks like.
You're going past Dunlap.
Yeah, keep going, keep going.
Anyone know what it's called?
Yeah, it's the transmission place.
Yeah, keep
And then
going.
you've got the
I think it's
import,
luxury
you've got the
now.
luxury import.
They change
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah, they change names every couple of
Yeah,
years.
keep going. Next
Next
intersection.
intersection.
Okay,
Right
Right
there.
there.
The other side,
other side.
other side.
You got that transmission.
That
you
one
got
right
that
there.
one
Okay, this Fast
Yeah.
Ride Auto Sales.
Yeah, that's not.
Now, look at their building, where that sign is there. They got two signs on there.
Okay.
Auto Express,
Auto Empire.
oh, Empire, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's called Auto Empire now.
This one.
That
That's
is,
a
that is a
transmission.
transmission
Oh,
place.
they're not selling any cars there?
No.
No, it's just transmission.
They collect cars, I think.
Yeah.
So do we still need to discuss auto sales? Was that part of,
It's kind of like, if you say no to auto sales, the sign doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So let's figure out, is there a shot on auto sales, or,
Can I ask the commissioners their thoughts? Just, Do we think that auto sales is a more intensive use than auto repair? Because our,
Well, personally, I mean, looking at the transmission place and looking at the amount of cars that are in there on a regular basis, and a lot of times it looks bad. You know, I would prefer to see decent car dealership than a auto repair place like the transmission place.
So in
Now
one of
they-
the pictures that was shown, was that a red Corvette you had sitting there?
Yes.
Yeah, that was what it used
So
to
that's
look like.
before,
2011,
Yeah,
for the record.
yep.
So this is kind of worst case scenario.
That looks like he was
was
selling
he
cars.
selling cars there? I don't.
That's what it looked like.
That's what it looks
They have
like,
some
yeah.
stickers on the window.
And just for the record, that's not what we see on some of these lots right now. I mean, they have a little bit of the janky grass up front, but otherwise, at least they're not parked in the grass and all
Right.
that, like some of,
We
the
can
smaller
jump and see what it
dealership.
looked like then and like what it looks like now.
right, so right now, is this current? You have 3 cars for sale currently?
Those two are my cars. The other one is, friend that came over there.
Could you go back to the-
Any cars on the lot now, do you?
No,
No.
no.
Could
He
you go
has-
back to the 2011,
Yeah.
please?
He has 0 cars. I believe, I drive by it every day. I believe you are attempting to comply with the law right now.
Yeah.
He's been told you can't do car sales there.
Yeah.
And so that's the goal of this.
And we appreciate that. We really do.
So, question for you. So, sir, it's your testimony that the gentleman who you bought the business and the land from was selling cars, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And now we have, looks like visual evidence that in 2011, they were selling cars.
Yep, they were 49.50.
So I don't know that I'm too hung up on the cars if it's been going on since 2011 of you selling cars. I'm just telling you now that all the facts are kind of coming out. They were doing it. It's obvious, I think, that they were doing it.
Yeah, they have prices in the windows.
So from that standpoint, what's the difference? It's been happening on that lot for
A lot of
some time.
years. A long time.
And I kind of agree. I think the looking at the cars with a sticker in the window can be a little less ugly, if you will, than potentially the old mufflers,
Yeah.
the old stuff that happens in car service. So I guess I'm okay with your car sales. It looks like it's been kind of happening, and that's where I'm at.
can I ask staff, would we have any legs to like limit the extent of the car sales?
You do anything.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I think we should do, is set a number on the amount of cars that he could have there for sale. Whether that be, what'd you say, 6 or 10 or whatever.
I think 6 was the high number. You said 5 to 6 is what your goal is, right?
My football jersey was 8.
Oh, now we're at 8, now that there's gonna be a number.
Under
I do
the
too.
guise of intensity, then that's certainly within your purview to say, could you, and I think we did that with RJ Trucking, R&J.
Can you pull back on that picture just a little bit more?
Which one?
The picture right there, can you pull back on that a little bit more? How many cars do we have in there now? 1, 2, 3,
That's the
4,
old
5,
picture.
6, 7,
That's-
8
That's
cars?
the 2011.
Well, yeah, but there's like some over here and there's some on the other side. There's probably 20 cars on that lot. And can I add that it's critical that you limit it because he could, I don't think you will, but he could sell the business tomorrow and then we have an amended FTP and that guy might not be as good of a businessman as he
Correct,
is.
you're right.
So,
That's one of the reasons why I'm thinking, my thought was that we should put a number on it.
Is that something that you would be open to? It's either 0 cars or a little bit more than that, right?
Or 8 cars.
8 cars. And you can pick where you
Sir,
can-
if it was 8, let's just go that it's 8, 6, 8, it doesn't matter to me. Is there a location that makes sense for your sales? Because here's where I'm going with this. these poor people are gonna have to track you down, 8 cars, 9 cars, oh, you got a 7th car, oh, you sold that last night. That's a disaster, and that's a lot of work. Is there a location, though, sir, that you think in your business where you think this is the best place to be putting these cars that are gonna be for sale? In other words, I would think along Springdale Road. Is that kind of what you're thinking? So maybe what we do, you guys, is we give you 8 spaces or a distance, whatever that is, from that grass area going west on Springdale, and that's your area that you can sell in.
Yes, that'd be awesome, yeah. You don't have to worry about the bar, keep trying to get in there and park.
Well, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
So a typical parking space is 20 by 8, or 18 by 10, so 180 square feet. So if we went 10, that's 80. I don't know, 80 feet from that island, that concrete island that we see now in the new picture, because it's not there in the 2011. Or there it is. Yes, it is there.
Do you have any plans with this curb cut long-term?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that.
There's 2 curb cuts, isn't there? There's one
It
down,
looked like there was 2.
yeah, there's 2 of them.
Yeah, we like to see defunct curb cuts get removed. So if you could,
Yeah, I'll work on
we'd
that,
appreciate if you work on that as well.
definitely.
That could be a condition. It's up
What
to
can I
you
do
guys.
to keep them from pulling up parking there?
Take the curb cuts out.
Hit the,
That
well, they'll
would-
park on the grass.
Yeah,
You
but-
talking to bar people?
Yeah,
Bar?
but
Yeah.
if it's on the grass, then the police can come and ticket them very easily.
They don't, it seems like they don't, cause they thinking like, oh, he let them. I'm like, no, I didn't let them do that. So, yeah.
I would have a very
Yeah,
clear
if
discussion.
the curb
with
cuts were gone,
bar
I'll
owner.
guarantee you it'd be a lot easier to keep them off.
Sir, if we were to give you 80 feet of frontage that you could sell, would you be amenable to, would you be okay to get rid of that apron, that apron that you see right there?
The 2 curb cuts.
Between the sidewalk and the road, on that one and the one that's further to the west?
And I can tell you from other businesses that have done this, it's renting a jackhammer and grass seed and a weekend. It's not something I think that'll be $5,000, right?
Because that one is, there's no way anybody's using it. It's
No,
got a
It's
chain
got holes
across
in
it.
them.
The one to the west, how else you get into the drive? Oh,
He's got another curb cut on the side street.
Yeah,
Do
oh,
you use this one?
Oh, that's, yep,
You do use that?
yep.
Okay.
That's how I pull in, I just gated it off.
So, and then you have the one on the side street, correct? So there's 3 driveway access points, is that correct?
Oh, sorry, I'll go over there.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how you get in.
Okay.
Where,
Yeah. Since
Let's-
this is an ICR, when we did the staff report, I'd probably make a recommendation that he removes that curb cut.
The both
Under
or
both.
the easternmost?
gotta come back anyway for.
Yeah, I'd say at least the one.
For sure, the one.
The eastern side.
Give him still access a little bit on Springdale Road in
Mm-hmm.
case, but make sure there's never 2 curb cuts to this business again.
I agree. Okay.
Yeah, so I think you have some
Direction.
direction.
Do you feel like you got some answers, Mr. Harris? We'll set up a meeting, sit down at a table and talk it out. Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, and best of luck in your business. And please, don't park in the grass. And don't let it go all crazy, because I'm that girl. Just so you know. I like putting in zoning complaints.
And thanks for coming in and trying to make it right.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I keep this?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thanks. All right, so the rest of our agenda is pretty quick. So no old business, still no new business. Actually, I do have a piece of new business.
Yes,
So
you do.
what do you plan on doing with your free time now that the zoning resolution is moving forward? Because I know you have an answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll put you on record. You gotta say it.
I think I would go on record to saying that the property maintenance code needs to be updated. I think that's what you're getting at.
Yes.
And that is something that is under the police department scope now. I think that we need to work with them to figure out how to make it work better for the township a little bit. The planning and development department is very interested in making sure that sidewalks are walkable. So if there is overgrowth blocking the sidewalk, it's totally unacceptable. So we're gonna make sure that, that's dealt with, be it through the property maintenance code, which is something that we're gonna get worked on, or, our comprehensive plan. We're gonna make sure that we make a more walkable community. And that is what I will be working on now.
Yep, and ivy is included in that as well, so that way our power lines aren't drooping down and catching businesses and houses on fire.
Yes.
Okay, no administrative reports?
The only thing I had was introducing our new planners, which we did earlier, so,
Sorry.
look forward to working with them.
All right, any announcements?
Spoiler.
Right. No announcements? Okay, next meeting is scheduled for October 15th, and I did just let Mr. Bachman know that I will not be present at that meeting, so he will be running the meeting
Okay.
in October. So if there's nothing else, so thanks to my fellow commissioners, staff, everyone who is present, all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.